hanging from their belts as they pursued and attacked their enemies. The Qin army was described as savage in the historical records. Could it be said it was cruelty and brutality that nurtured these valiant warriors? The Qin army, once the strongest of armies, is a source of so many perplexing riddles. They existed only in people's imagination for thousands of years, until the day when some peasants in Shanxi province made an unexpected discovery that sent shockwaves around the world. In 1974, Xiyang village in Lintong County, Shanxi province, was hit by drought. The villagers hoped that underground water could save their dying crops. Some villagers selected a place to dig a well in a wood of pomegranate trees. One evening in March, still not having struck water, they excavated a life-size terracotta head buried 5 or 6 meters underground. News of the discovery spread rapidly. Archaeologists arrived and took over from the local farmers, beginning a professional excavation of the site.
我们来的时候，领导曾经跟我们说了，是吧？你们到那去挖去，挖了个大概挖1个礼拜到10天左右就把它挖完了。
A huge pit was dug at the small mouth of the well, but the lifelike terracotta statues kept appearing in the layers of soil. Yuan Zhongyi, an archaeologist on the spot at the time, and his colleagues asserted that it was an ancient secondary burial pit. But nobody foresaw that their excavation over dozens of days covered only a very small part of the pit, like the tip of an iceberg.
于是我们要嘛就寻它的边儿，我们想这个寻它的边儿，再挖，就是到处啊找不到它的边儿，就是。当时我们就当时也很奇怪的，就是还没有边儿的东西嘛，就是。
The final result of the excavation showed it to be a huge pit of unprecedented size, its area far beyond any expectation. That day in 1974 was the prologue to the most stunning archaeological discovery of the 20th century.
这是一个大型的兵马俑坑了，就是啊，面积啊达到14000多平方米，就是像这样大的陪葬坑啊，在中国过去从来没发现过，在世界上也没有发现过那么大的陪葬坑的。
The statues of the warrior in the pit were originally in an upright posture. Obviously, they'd been badly damaged. In 1974, the statues in front of the archaeologist had all collapsed. Broken heads and arms could be found everywhere in the huge pit. So many terracotta figures had never been discovered in the history of archaeology.
根据它已经出土这个密度推算，我们1号兵马俑坑里头啊，当时我们大体做一个估计了，大约有陶俑陶马有6000件了，就是浩浩荡荡。
Elaborate reparation work began on the broken terracotta warriors. They started to resume their original aspects. One after another, the pottery figures began to stand up once again. They were the same size as real human beings and were all dressed in warriors' costume with armor and robes. They were arranged in perfect order and stood solemnly along the partition walls like a true army. There in the pit stood several hundred war horses neighing with heads held up high as if on the battlefield. The traces of ancient chariots could clearly be seen beside these war horses. The wooden chariots had completely rotted away, but rough outlines could still be identified. Dozens of chariots, several hundred war horses and thousands of soldiers were lining up in front of the archaeologists as if it were a complete underground army group. No records about the existing terracotta warriors can be found in any of the historical records, nor has any legend ever revealed a clue as to their identity. Whose army was it? Who was the master of this secondary burial pit? Guangzhong Plain was the political centre of the Qin, Han and Tang dynasties. To the west of the pit, a huge mound can be seen on the horizon. This is the tomb of the first Qin emperor, known as Emperor Shi of the Qin, the founder of the Qin Empire.
这周围呢，再没有其他的墓葬啊。距秦始皇陵啊，大概是1.5公里了。虽然比较远，但周围呢又没有其他的墓葬，我们就初步判断它是秦始皇陵的一个陪葬坑。
It would appear that such a magnificent secondary burial pit could only be the handiwork of this impressive Qin emperor, but for the archaeologists, the deduction had to be proved by direct evidence. The excavation went on. The archaeologists found large amounts of bronze weapons in the clay. After careful cleaning, some characters appeared on the surfaces of the weapons. The characters on this spear are similar to modern Chinese characters. It reads Shigong. According to the historical records, it was the Qin emperor who set up Shigong. This was a state office in charge of the production of weapons. On this spear, the experts have found more conclusive evidence. The characters on the right side of the spear read, supervised by Xianbang, the 5th year, Liu Buwei. Liu Buwei was the prime minister of the Qin emperor. One of his duties was responsibility for weapons production.
兵器上面有文字的，有秦始皇的纪年的，比如秦始皇4年、5年7年，是吧？还有这个8年的，5年、7年、8年，另外16年、17年、18年、19年，都有秦始皇的纪年的，这是。
The years on the weapons showed their exact date of manufacture. It goes without saying these weapons were all made in the time of the Qin emperor, and they were buried underground as funeral objects after his death. In front of Yuan Zhongyi and his colleagues, an invincible army, lost for more than 2,000 years and covered by the fog of history, had unexpectedly reappeared. The indistinct picture of the Qin army painted by Sima Qian instantly became concrete and clear. The earth-shaking effect of the terracotta warriors' discovery was beyond description. In 1975, the attention of the whole world was riveted on the terracotta warriors. News of the discovery was carried on front pages everywhere. Heads of state and government and important people from all fields came to Shanxi province, one after another, to see the ancient Chinese troops with their own eyes. Without exception, they were awed. The Qin terracotta warriors appeared on the front cover of National Geographic. The title, The First Emperor's Army, China's Incredible Find. But with regard to knowledge about the Qin army, what caused the greatest impression amongst the Americans was its cruelty and brutality. However, the truth must be revealed piece by piece by the real scholars through a scientific approach. The discovery of the Terracotta warriors has entirely changed Yuan Zhongyi's life. His pleasant surprise and excitement were soon over. From the beginning of his research work, he was aware of the fact that these living statues would present quite a number of puzzles. Each of these warriors had a different physical appearance, and their dress was obviously different. Some wore small caps, and some had their hair worn in a coil. What was the implication of these differences? It seems those with caps were officers. But what were their ranks? Could it be said that the Qin army had its own strict system of military ranks? 6,000 warriors were all in good order in the pit. But was the arrangement arbitrary, or did it have some implication? Could these pottery figures reveal any methods of military operation and array in ancient China? There were no answers to a series of questions. After the discovery of the first pit of terracotta warriors, archaeologists discovered another huge pit still covered by thick, loess earth. Researchers have made a vertical image of the pit with thousands of photos. A magnificent underground view can be seen by computer analogue. In the northeast corner of the pit were crossbowmen. The crossbow was the most precise weapon on the ancient battlefield. The commander-in-chief of the Zhao army was killed by Qin crossbowmen at the Battle of Changping. Could that tell something about the power of Qin crossbowmen? In the south of the pit was an independent chariot unit. This was a completely unknown branch of the army. Was it possible that this chariot unit could be the mysterious light army of the Qin, which played such a key part in the Changping battle? The chariots were closely followed by cavalry. 4 cavalrymen fall into one well-ordered group. Was it possible that these were the Qin cavalry who cut off the supply line of the Zhao army? The postures of these warriors indicated that they had their own weapons tightly held in their hands. As time went on, the wooden parts of these weapons rotted, but the metal parts had survived well up until now. A total of more than 40,000 pieces of weapons were unearthed in the pit of terracotta warriors. But these weapons were basically made of bronze, and this has greatly puzzled archaeologists.
这里头有一个问题呢，就是在战国晚期的时候，根据书上记载，根据其他的一些地方的考古资料来看呢，当时铁兵器已经出来了，那秦朝为什么这个地方都发现的都是铜兵器呢，青铜兵器呢？于是有些先生就提出了一些观点呢，就是说这是落后的兵器。
According to accepted wisdom, the wounding power of iron-made weapons is far stronger than that of bronze ones. How was it possible that the Qin army, equipped with these outdated bronze weapons, could be invincible? It is rarely in human history that a more primitive civilization is able to prevail over a more advanced one. The Qin army once created history. Could it be that this poorly equipped army could have unified China merely by its cruelty and brutality? The full truth will be further revealed along with the discovery of the terracotta warriors.